My dad did own this truck at one point. What happened? How am I just now buying this truck back? That was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. My dad actually, he passed away. It'd be cool to know that this is my most liked video because of my dad. Hello and welcome to Gearhead 704. I'm Matt, and today we're going to talk about exactly why I bought this 69 F100 right behind me. In case you missed the last upload, I did reveal everything about the truck other than why I bought it. I've really been a Fox Body guy. This has been a Fox Body channel, but I bought this F100, right? And so what are the reasons behind that? That's exactly what we're talking about, and really it stems from my dad. So today is going to be a little bit of a special video for me as well, because I'm going to be talking all about my dad. And pretty much he inspired my whole enthusiasm for, just hot rods in general, muscle cars, and this whole type of car thing that I'm doing. So that's what we're talking about today. But before we get into that, you do need to know a little bit about my dad first. Now I have a little clip here coming up of my dad. What you need to know is he's actually been in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair since I was 3 years old. And so pretty much that's all I ever knew him by. But he wasn't mentally handicapped or anything like that. It was all physical. He only had use of one arm, his right arm, and he couldn't walk, he didn't have legs, that type of thing. So when you see him in the clips, he is the guy in the wheelchair talking. Now this video takes place, this is back in 2012, and he had a drag car at the time. Now he didn't drive it, but he did own the car. He decided what went on the car, put all the money into the car, and he went to every race cheering for it, watching it. I think there's even a clip of him watching it. And so you really need to understand my dad before you can understand why I bought this truck. So I want you to go ahead, get kind of an introduction to my dad. His name is Johnny, and I will catch up with you guys right after this clip.
We've won 12 times.
Yes, sir.
And we lost 3. I lost 3 finals, but I won 1 final, and the 3 losses have been less than 1 foot every single time.
There you go.
Last week I won by probably less than a foot. This car, however, never lost to that car last year.
Okay.
And I have to dial my car in with my driver, and we're there now. So we got it turned on.
So introduce yourself to the people. Tell everybody who you are. Tell us a little bit about this fabulous car you have.
All right, this is a 67 Chevy Camaro. I run a 565 with a 1,300 horsepower tune-up on the car. And I own it. I'm Johnny. And Mighty Mouse, I grew up with him as a character, a cartoon character, and I loved him. And he's on my car, and the people up here know this red Camaro by 2 icons on each fender, both of them being Mighty Mouse. So they call the car Mighty Mouse. We are the 010, 011 AMS Street Outlaw Points Champion for the past 2 years.
Okay.
And we're going for our 3rd, and when I do 3 in a row, folks, let me tell you, I can tell you don't want to hear nothing out of nobody else. Yeah,
Okay.
I have 1 win with 3 losses, but the losses were all in the final. You got to win a bunch of rounds to get to the final. And we're just here tonight. We're backing up. We're trying to do it 3 years in a row. And if I do it then I'm not hearing nothing out of nobody else.
Now, why do you do this? What makes this fun for you?
Oh, this is part.
Let us know about the passion.
This is part of your life. Cars are a reflection of the owner, very much so. And believe me, I wasn't always in a wheelchair for 30 years, and I grew up in the 60s. And I went to high school, graduated in 1971, so I know all about 60 cars, and of course I had to have me one, and I didn't know how to get one on the racetrack, so I found me somebody that all he's done his whole life is race cars and build cars. It ought to be sticking, hey, and if it's sticking, this car pulls wheel stands, that crowd, they call the car,
so
they call the car.
So I hope you enjoyed that little clip of my dad and saw how passionate he was about that car. That car was known as Mighty Mouse, as I'm sure he said in the clip. And yeah, one of the coolest things about it, though, he was very much into drag racing. But if you listen to one part in that, they ask him, why are you into cars, right? And he talks about the car very much being a reflection of the owner, and cars are part of your life. And I guess that's what he passed on to me, right? And Dad used to be a gearhead, just like I am, but he actually worked on his cars. I'm learning, in case you're new to the channel. I just started learning in this journey the last year or so. But Dad knew all that stuff. But once he was paralyzed, he wasn't able to really show me, right? He couldn't show me as well. But I did get that car enthusiasm, that car passion from him, for sure. Now, I got more into the Fox bodies, even though I was around muscle cars. I was around his drag car, Mighty Mouse, and some of the other cars he had. But that passion really, for me, came through the Fox bodies. Except for this vehicle behind me here. So my dad did own this truck at one point. He was the one that did all the mods in the 90s. I think he bought it in 1993 or so, when I was about 12 or 13. And he bought it from the original owner. They kept it in the garage pretty much. And you know, he was the one that put all the mods that you saw from the last video. So if you want to know more about the truck, you know, check that out. But he was the one that modified it and all. So this is actually my dad's truck. And funny enough, when I was 16, I actually drove this truck, and not really funny now. I guess funny now, not funny then. I actually wrecked the truck, okay? I was hot rodding at 16 years old, and I was trying to do a burnout, and Dad had let me borrow the truck. I was just supposed to go to Dairy Queen. I did a pill out, lost control of the truck. It went over a median, and I busted out 3 of the wheels on there. I guess you know, a lot of the comments you guys wanted me to get rid of those wheels on this car, those rims. Well, I busted 3 out when I was 16. My dad knew about it. Of course, he was upset. We got through all that. But so I have a history with this truck. I do, for sure. And then about 2008 or so, Dad was just ready to move on. He was ready to sell it. And this is where the story gets kind of interesting. When he wanted to sell it, I was like, Dad, the truck's been in the family for a long time. Why don't I buy it from you? So I bought the truck from my dad in 2008, and I had it for years, and I have lots of memories with that, even with my own kids, you know. In fact, my daughter Kristen, there was a video of her that we had taken of her riding the truck along with my son Jack from years ago. I mean, I think she was like 4 or 5 at the time. And I do want to also put that clip in here real quick for you guys so you can see that.
Here we go.
See my daughter now she's 14, so obviously a lot older, not the little girl she was anymore in that video, but they had memories of that truck. In fact, her very first sentence was, Daddy drives noisy truck, right? So you may be asking yourself, what happened? How am I just now buying this truck back? And that's where the story gets a little bit tough for me, but I'm just gonna be as honest with you guys as I can, because I really want to share this, you know, maybe people can learn from my mistakes and that type of thing. Also, it's a blessing now that I had the truck back. But so around 2017, my dad actually, he passed away. He had been in the wheelchair for about 34 years. And he lived a long time, honestly, for his condition. He lived a very long time, and I will say at least his mental faculties, they were there, right? All the way to the end. He was mentally there. It's just his body finally gave out on him. And so when that happened, I was left, of course, with this truck, which I bought from him, as well as Tar Heel Fox, but it wasn't Tar Heel Fox at the time. That's the blue convertible right over here to my left, I guess. It was white back at the time. It needed all kinds of work done to it. And I'm not really a mechanic, guys. I'm not. I've learned in the last year, like I said already, but I didn't feel like at the time I could fix both the vehicles up. I mean, this one still needs a lot of little things, like, and nothing basically has changed since I've rebought it, but I didn't think that I personally could fix them up, and I knew I was gonna have to pay somebody, and at the time it was gonna be too much money to pay them to fix up both my Fox body and the truck, and my passion was around Fox body, so I made a choice. And that choice was to go ahead and sell the truck and use that money from the sale to put it into Tar Heel Fox. Now, that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, to be honest. And I also have footage of that. I have a clip of me selling this truck at auction, and yeah, guys. Anyway, let me put the clip in here real quick so you can see.
Ranger package, Outbound Reunited intake MSD edition, long tube rubber headers, engine built by KT Engines in Charlotte. Less than 3,000 miles since the rebuild, ladies and gentlemen. Over $6,000 spent on the motor rebuild, or seats that go with it.
The truck sold for auction, and that was it. That was goodbye to the truck. And that was, in retrospect, I was very upset about it. I mean, he's actually, my dad's been passed away now for about three 2.5 years, but let's rewind my YouTube journey. Coming up almost on 2 years now, right? And so I started a YouTube channel. You guys know, if you've been around for the channel for a long time, you know I started out by paying people to do work on the Fox, and that's just how I did. I did updates, right? And I didn't do the work myself. Well, I ran into Matt and Jen from Fox Mustang Restoration. As you know, Matt's been mentoring me, showing me how to do things, enabling me to do more. In a lot of ways, he supplemented what my dad wasn't able to do. And he actually reminds me of my dad a lot. And I began to learn more, and I was like, hey, I can do this stuff. You know, it's not gonna cost me an arm and a leg to pay somebody else in labor, you know, to do all the work. And I began to really regret selling the truck. I already kind of regretted it, honestly. As soon as it went through, I was like, that was a bad decision, but I'm gonna use the money to put into Tar Heel Fox, you know, so. Yeah, working with Matt made me realize I should have kept this truck, right? And so I became even more upset about it, especially with the family memories and everything that I had tied together with that. And so I realized I made a big mistake, you know, letting it go, especially the more I learned how to turn wrenches, right? So I started trying to track it back down. You know, I called the people that listed it for auction, asked if they could get me in touch with who the seller was. In the meantime, Matt, I showed him a picture of the truck, and he's like, I think I've seen this truck before. And he kind of knew where it was at, and he'd seen it years before. And he ended up contacting them, found out they did still have the truck. And I could not believe it, but that was just the first step, right? That was the first step. And you know, I wanted the truck back. I wanted it back. And so I went ahead, I reached out to him and told him my whole story. And you know what? We were able to make it work. I can't believe it. I never thought, I didn't really think I would get it back. You know, I figured that was an unrecoverable mistake, and I lost all those memories, and I messed up, but they had it. So guys, this has been in the works for weeks, and the other person, they really liked the truck. They didn't want to sell it, and I kept going back and forth, shared some of the videos and stuff I share with you guys here, worked with them, and we were able to obviously negotiate a price. So that's the story of how I got it back, how I lost it. I do have some of my very first reactions of picking up the vehicle. So I want to share that with you right now. This is my first reaction of picking it up. I want to share that with you, as well as my kids' first reaction of seeing it come home. In particular, my oldest daughter, who again, her first sentence was, "Daddy drives noisy truck," and you saw her in the other video there. So let me go ahead and just show you guys some of that footage when I brought the truck home. All right, guys, I know that I'm in the middle of explaining why I bought this truck. I just started that video, and you've already seen the truck, right? You've already heard it run, but for me, this is the day that I'm picking it up, and I'm really excited because, as I'm telling you in this video right now, this was actually my dad's truck. But for right now, I just wanted to share with you guys my first moments of getting the truck back, and it's kind of unbelievable. I sold this truck 3 years ago. This is the first time. This is mine. All the paperwork's been done. The vehicle is mine, and man, I'm excited. I'm excited. So I just want to get home, get it on the road, but I didn't want you guys to miss out on this first few minutes of me getting this vehicle. And yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of speechless, guys, right now. I'm kind of speechless. I get to drive it. I haven't driven this thing over 3 years. I'm gonna drive it right now. So I'm really excited. Let's go do it. Driving this thing for the first time in many years, and the first place I have to go is the gas station. I gotta get gas, of course. So, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I can't believe I got my dad's old truck back. Dang.
That could be any ordinary car. It sounds like Tar Heel Fox. Any ordinary car. No way. How? Shut it down. Hey guys. You got
What I got back.
What? Oh.
Surprise!
The
So there's the whole story. That's why I bought this truck. So hopefully you have a better understanding now that how much this truck means to me, especially with my dad. And that's probably like what's next. There's things that I would do to this vehicle that, Dad didn't do, right? We have different tastes. I'm into Fox bodies, he wasn't. So I'm not going to change the wheels, even though that'd be cool. I'm not going to change the paint in the engine bay. What I am going to do is fix it so it runs right. I still might upgrade the brakes to disc brakes, or if they're not power brakes, I thought they were, maybe they're not, but I'm still going to do those kinds of things just because to make it easier to drive, and I think Dad would have done that. But as far as the aesthetics, I'm just thinking about my dad, guys. This has been a very hard video for me to do, to talk. I miss him, I miss him a lot. I do. But YouTube is my outlet. Like, so what my channel, every time I put out a video, I can imagine talking to my dad about that video. I mean, we used to play fantasy football together in his last few years, and we would talk every week about the lineups, and I know that he would love what I'm doing now. He had such a passion for vehicles, and man, I wish I was YouTube when he had the Mighty Mouse car, right? Think about all the awesome videos I could have made back then with him. And yeah, so what I'm saying is, sorry, I didn't mean to get all emotional on you guys. I'm just being real here, and I miss him. But aesthetically, the truck, I'm gonna keep it pretty much exactly like he had it, and we're just gonna fix all the little mechanical stuff. The big thing right now is a transmission leak. I said in the last video it was a C4. I was wrong. Dad would have called me up and told me right away, "Oh, you got that wrong, boy," But it's a C6. It's a C6 transmission. For those of you that wondered, many of you commented. Thank you in the comments for reminding me. But yeah, aesthetically, I'm gonna have it just like he had it. I do want to add this on really quick. My dad, he drove himself around, even though he only had use of one arm. He drove with a joystick, and it was pretty awesome to watch. So he didn't ride anywhere. He didn't feel comfortable riding with people, except he never let me drive him in the Mustang. But this truck, Dad let me drive it, and he rode in it. He let me drive it, and he rode in it. This is the only vehicle I ever drove my dad around in, and he was just so happy to be in the truck. He loved it, and he liked to go fast, and he'd tell me, "Hey, push the gas, son," and all that, and yeah. So that's why I have the truck. Those are the plans for the truck, just fixing mechanical stuff, probably not a lot of big upgrades. And I'll probably highlight it a little bit on the channel, but it's not gonna be, the channel's still gonna be very much Fox body focused. You know everything we're doing to all the other vehicles, but I really wanted to share this story with you guys because of how much the truck means to me and how much it gives my connection to my dad. And I got it back, and I just can't believe it. After 3.5 years or so, maybe 3 years, I had the vehicle back. So I think I've talked enough for this video, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. I do wanna say this chair I'm sitting in, let me show this chair off real quick. This chair is a Ford chair, and we're all about Fords, right? And it's such a cool chair, and one of my subscribers sent me this chair. They sent it to me for our birthday. So you know who you are. I really appreciate it. This is awesome, and I was able to now record this video in this chair in front of my dad's truck, and yeah. I'm really excited. I'm just so happy. Okay, all right, we're done. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. Hit it for my dad, if you would. I'd love this video. It'd be cool to know that this is my most liked video because of my dad. That's ideally what I would like, and we'll see. But other than that, if you want to see more content, a lot more Fox body content, and occasionally this truck, please subscribe because I do upload 2 times a week, every Sunday and Wednesday. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for hanging in here on this one, guys, and we'll see you next time here on Gearhead 704.